Have you ever heard of a ship that was legally declared unsinkable? Not just claimed to be, like the Titanic, but actually designed and built with special features to make it impossible to sink. Now, what if I told you this unsinkable ship vanished without a trace in just 19 minutes? This is the chilling and baffling story of the Witchcraft, a mystery that remains unsolved to this day, right in the heart of the infamous Bermuda Triangle. It was December 22nd, 1967. The holiday spirit was in the air in Miami. Two men, a successful hotel owner named Dan Burack and his friend, Father Patrick Horgan, decided to take a special trip. They boarded Burack's 23-foot luxury cabin cruiser, a beautiful vessel named the Witchcraft. Their plan was simple and sweet: to cruise just a mile or so offshore to admire the spectacular display of Christmas lights that decorated the Miami coastline. The night was clear, the seas were calm. It was the perfect evening for a leisurely boat ride. Burack was an experienced sailor, and his boat was state-of-the-art. Besides its powerful engines, it was equipped with special flotation devices built directly into the hull. These weren't just life rafts. They were an integral part of the ship's design, guaranteeing that even if the boat were completely flooded or broken apart, the hull itself would remain afloat. It was, for all intents and purposes, an unsinkable vessel. As they enjoyed the dazzling lights, everything seemed perfect. Then, at exactly 9 p.m., the U.S. Coast Guard received a radio call from Dan Burack. His voice was incredibly calm, completely devoid of panic. He reported that his boat had struck something submerged in the water. It wasn't a collision with another boat. It was something unseen beneath the waves. He explained that this had damaged his propellers, and he would need a tow back to the marina. Crucially, Burack emphasized that this was not an emergency. He and Father Horgan were fine. The boat was stable, and there was no immediate danger. To help the Coast Guard find them, he said he would fire a flare to signal his position. They were only about 1 mile from the Buoy 7 marker, a well-known point just off the coast of Miami. A simple, routine call for assistance. The Coast Guard immediately dispatched a cutter. Given how close the Witchcraft was to shore and the clear conditions, this should have been a quick and straightforward rescue mission. They knew the exact location. They had a calm and experienced captain on the radio. They expected to arrive, hook up a tow line, and have Burack and Horgan back at the dock in no time. The rescue boat sped towards the coordinates Burack had given. From the moment the call came in to the moment the Coast Guard cutter arrived on the scene took just 19 minutes. 19. Remember that number. When the cutter arrived at the precise spot, 1 mile from Buoy 7, they found nothing. Absolutely nothing. The vast, dark expanse of the Atlantic Ocean was empty. There was no sign of the Witchcraft, no debris, no oil slick, and no sign of the two men. The Coast Guard captain was puzzled. They were in the right place, and they had arrived incredibly quickly. Where could the boat have gone? They circled the area, their powerful searchlights cutting through the darkness, scanning the calm water. They called out for the Witchcraft on the radio, but were met with only static. The calm, routine tow had suddenly turned into a full-blown search and rescue operation. The initial search that night yielded no results. As the hours turned into days, the operation grew into one of the most extensive air and sea searches the Coast Guard had ever conducted in that area. Over the next week, they combed through more than 1,200 square miles of the Atlantic Ocean, stretching from the coast of Miami far out into the Florida Straits. They searched every inch of water, every current, every potential drift pattern. And this is where the story goes from strange to utterly baffling. They found nothing. Not a single piece of the Witchcraft. Think about that. Even if the boat had been catastrophically destroyed by some sudden, violent event, an explosion, for example, there should have been wreckage. A ship, even a small one, is made of thousands of parts. There should have been floating cushions, a life jacket, a piece of the wooden deck, a cooler, anything. But the search parties found not so much as a splinter. And remember, this was the unsinkable ship. Its unique design meant that its hull should have been floating, even if it was in pieces. The special flotation devices would have kept it on the surface, but the ocean had swallowed it whole, leaving no evidence behind. It was as if the boat and its two passengers had simply been erased from existence in the 19 minutes it took for help to arrive. So what could have happened? Investigators and amateur sleuths have been asking that question for over half a century, and the case of the Witchcraft has become a classic tale of the Bermuda Triangle. Let's explore some of the theories. The first, most obvious explanation would be a conventional sinking. But how? Burack was calm on the radio. He said it wasn't an emergency. For a boat to sink so completely in under 19 minutes, with no time for a distress call, suggests something sudden and catastrophic. But what could cause that? Perhaps they hit a semi-submerged object, like a container that had fallen off a cargo ship. But even a major collision should have left debris. Plus, Burack, an experienced mariner, would have likely reported the situation with more urgency if the boat was taking on water rapidly. Another theory is foul play. Could Burack and Horgan have been the victims of modern-day pirates? It's possible. The waters off Miami have seen their share of crime. Maybe another vessel approached them under the guise of helping, only to overpower them and steal the boat. But this theory has problems too. Why would pirates steal a damaged boat that couldn't move under its own power? And again, where's the boat? A stolen boat would have to go somewhere. It couldn't just vanish. No ransom was ever demanded, and neither Burack nor Horgan had any known enemies that would point to a targeted attack. Then, of course, we enter the realm of the paranormal and the unexplained, which is what makes this a quintessential Bermuda Triangle mystery. Was the Witchcraft a victim of some unknown natural phenomenon? Some have speculated about rogue waves, which can appear suddenly even on calm seas and are powerful enough to swallow a small vessel whole. However, rogue waves are incredibly rare, and there were no other reports of unusual sea conditions in the area that night. Others suggest a sudden, localized waterspout, a sort of mini tornado on the water. This could potentially pull a boat under, but it's a dramatic event that would likely have been noticed by others or left some sort of atmospheric disturbance. And then there's the most famous and persistent theory associated with this region: alien abduction. The idea that a UFO could have lifted the boat and its occupants right out of the water is a staple of Bermuda Triangle lore. The complete disappearance, with no debris and no trace, fits this narrative perfectly for those who believe in extraterrestrial visitation. Proponents of this theory point to the speed and efficiency of the disappearance. 19 minutes is an impossibly short time for a conventional sinking to leave no trace. Could an advanced, non-human technology be the only explanation for how something could be there one moment and gone the next? Another fringe theory talks about a time warp or a portal to another dimension, suggesting the ship wasn't destroyed but simply moved somewhere else entirely. What makes the case of the Witchcraft so compelling is the sheer lack of evidence. In most maritime disasters, you find something: an oil slick, a life raft, a floating piece of the hull. Here, there was nothing. The ocean gave back no clues. The 19-minute window is the most chilling part of the puzzle. What could possibly happen in 19 minutes that could make an unsinkable boat and two experienced people disappear from a calm sea, just a mile from shore, without leaving a single trace? The Coast Guard officially listed the case as lost at sea, but for investigators and mystery lovers, that label has never been satisfying. The file remains open, a testament to one of the most perplexing maritime disappearances in modern history. The Witchcraft sailed out to see the Christmas lights and sailed straight into legend, becoming a ghost ship of the Bermuda Triangle, its fate a complete and total mystery. What do you think happened? Was it a freak accident, a criminal act, or something beyond our understanding? Let me know your theories down in the comments. It's stories like these that remind us just how vast and mysterious our world can be. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed diving into the unexplained, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more mysteries. Stay curious, and see you next time.